So what brings you out today?
Want to support the community.
Okay. Did you make the sign?
Yeah, we made it. All of us.
Cool. What is your sign? Can I interview you guys as well? Do you mind coming in here? Who made this sign?
That one my sister did.
Okay. A person, no matter how small. From Dr. Seuss said this. I very much like Dr. Seuss's work. I like his Sneetches most of all. So when would you say that a human embryo becomes a person?
From the moment it is conceived.
And when is that? Is it conception or is it third term or when it has a heartbeat? What is your personal definition of it?
From the moment that it is conceived.
So conception?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about artificial insemination? Like embryonics? How do you feel about like the celebrities who have other people have their babies and so they make like 6 embryos and then implant one of them and then terminate the other 5? How do you feel about that?
I don't believe in that. I think you should have your own children. Even if you can't, you should adopt.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And this
given to you by God Almighty.
so what? This is a religious symbol, is that correct?
Yeah.
So is this a religious subject for you?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the difference between politics and religion?
Our friends, our family members, our brothers, our sisters,
Like
and
for us,
those
like
who are
we believe
poor,
in like
vulnerable.
that people should be alive no matter what, and then well that's why we brought this along.
How do you feel about pregnancies as the result of rape?
Someone else's courage because someone else said yes
I
to
don't
the
know about
call
that
to
because
be a
like
voice
it's
for
not the
those who
person's
had no
fault, but it's
voice.
also not the baby's
But the
fault,
most
and so they shouldn't be getting
important
aborted
story
just
today
because they got raped. Because the baby,
It's
it's
the
not the
story
baby's
that hasn't
fault.
been written yet.
Right. It is the fault of the rapist.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
Your
also not
story
the mom's
of
fault,
how
but at
you
the same time, the
use
mom
your
should have a
time,
heart
your talent,
and
your
say that
treasure
this baby is
So you are of the religious belief that even in cases of rape, no abortions? Cool. Thank you very, very much for your time. So what brings you out to the Capitol today?
We're from Colorado Springs Diocese, Catholic Diocese of Colorado Springs, Respect Life Apostolate, and we're here to march for life.
Okay. Like specifically for the people, what are we?
The cause is all things pro-life. From
Today, that's what
today is all about.
It's not about making late-term abortion illegal. It's not that.
That's part of our
It's part of
cause.
it. Okay, but the whole thing
This is called the Celebrate Life March.
Okay.
So we march for all life because all life is sacred from conception to natural death.
From conception to death. How do you feel about the celebrities who use? Oh, I thought it was falling. I thought it was falling. I was going to catch
I thought so too.
The wind. How do you feel about the celebrities that use like surrogates, and so they create like 6 embryos, and then one of the embryos is surrogated, and the rest
the
are
others they
terminated.
usually destroy.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's murder.
Yeah, you feel the same about that.
Yes.
How do you feel about in like a case of rape, in a case of a child who?
I don't feel like a child who is conceived in the case of rape should be punished for the sins of its father.
Okay.
And plus, it's only 2%.
Yeah, it's very small.
It is very small. I'm just asking the questions. Thank you very much. What brings you out today?
I just want to support the pro-life movement.
Okay. I understand that there's a number of things being supported today. I've heard that it's about late-term abortions making that illegal, and I've also heard that it's just a general condemnation of abortion. What is your take on?
Yeah, it's both. It's both.
Cool.
Yeah, it's to generally support the pro-life movement, and hopefully touch some people's hearts that what we're doing in this country and in other places around the world, really needs to end. Is that we've lost a respect for life and really respect for the individual, and you see that manifest in so many different ways in our society.
And this sounds religiously motivated?
Yeah, I'm a man of faith, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is, and do you feel this way because of that faith? This is, I'm saying this is a religious idea. What is the difference between religious and political?
Well, what's the difference?
Yep.
Well, I don't know if I want to go into that philosophical debate. I'm not sure that I'm qualified to answer that question, but I would say that, yeah, I mean, they're intertwined. They by nature they have to be.
Then here your spiritual feelings about this topic are.
I think it boils down to this:
motivating you to want political change.
Is it? I'm a child of God. You're a child of God. We live in a world created by God, and it's our jobs to be stewards of this world, to include every inhabitant in it.
And when
meaning
you
that
talk
tree,
about,
the oceans, the forests, and you.
And when you
me.
talk about an unborn person, you're talking about from the moment of conception?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. How do you feel about the celebrities who have surrogates to birth their babies, and so they create 6 embryos and they implant one, and if that doesn't take, they use the second one, and so some of those embryos. Do you feel the same way about those embryos?
Yeah, to a degree.
Okay.
I mean, if you could have a child no other way, I could see that. I think that you'd be, a woman and a man would be really missing out on having a natural conception and full-term delivery. I really think my wife and I, we have 5 children, and that's the way it went for all 5 of our children, and what a blessing it was, and healthy for the mother.
Yes.
There are tremendous health benefits to nursing your child, and the benefits of the connection between mother and child from conception.
Yes. Also,
what else do you have for me, bud?
The last one is how do you feel in the case of rape? How would you feel about that?
I don't think there's any accidents.
Okay.
I don't. And although rape is a terrible, terrible thing, I have 3 sisters. I have 2 daughters of my own. I have lots of women friends, colleagues. I would feel terrible if they were ever raped. Absolutely.
Of course.
Devastated.
Yes.
It would raise rage in me like no other.
Right.
At the same time, I don't think that there are accidents in birth.
Okay. Thank you very much. What brings you out today?
The rally?
Yeah, please do tell me about your personal reasons for joining the rally today.
Because life begins at conception.
Okay. And is that what this rally is about? Is the definition of life at conception, or is this about a third-term legal thing? I don't really. Is that the general idea? Which one's the major thrust today?
The major thrust is getting done what we think we can get done.
Okay.
And a restriction at 22 weeks is better than no restriction at all.
So by what we can get done, you think the sort of compromise that we can come to, is that what you mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's better than nothing. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing.
So this is what we're asking for today, but also religiously you feel, would you say that this is religiously motivated, your involvement today?
Mostly.
Excellent. I don't want to.
I'm a Christian.
Excellent, cool. And you're talking about life at the beginning of conception. I've been asking a couple people today how they feel about surrogates. When people use surrogates to have their baby, they make 6 embryos for that, and they try one, and if it doesn't work, they try the second one, and then when it works, they terminate the rest. How do you feel about that practice?
It's murder.
You feel the same about that? Yeah. Excellent, thank you. Most people felt the same way. How do you feel about abortion in the case of rape? How do you feel about that?
How is that the baby's fault?
That's excellent. That's okay. Cool.
That's my feeling on that.
Awesome. So what is the difference between religion and politics? How can we divide those 2 ideas in our mind?
I don't really think you can.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So that politics sort of is an expression of our religious...
Yeah. You go through life trying to serve Christ, and it goes into everything of life.
Okay.
Every aspect, and politics is a big part of that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. My apologies. Hello there, can I interview you for 5 minutes for YouTube?
No, I'd rather not.
Hello there, can I talk to you for 5 minutes for YouTube? Hello there, can I interview you for YouTube for 5 minutes? Can I talk to you for like 5 minutes about the march today for YouTube? Can I interview you for YouTube about this march today? For my own personal YouTube, just reporting personally on this march. Hello there, can I talk to you for 5 minutes for YouTube? Hello there, can I interview you for 5 minutes for YouTube for my own personal YouTube on religion? It's I'm very personally interested in religion, and so I have a personal YouTube about it. Do you mind talking for 5 minutes about today's march? What brings you out today?
I believe that every life matters and that we should not get rid of a life just because we think that, a child might be handicapped or might be, something might be different about it, or it might be hard. And it is true, it's hard to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to raise someone. I think we should support people who choose to have their children. I know many people who wish to adopt children. I know there are people who have autism, who have Temple Grandin has autism. She's a great scientist. She's done wonderful things in our world. So we need to, even though sometimes it's a harder option, we should choose life, and we should not end anyone's life without their decision.
Thank you very much. I have a couple questions about sort of like.
Yes, of course.
And this is religiously motivated. You feel this way as well?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so today we're talking about sort of two subjects. One, that life begins at conception, and then another is a legal a bill that we're trying to get passed that says to make late-term abortions illegal.
Yes.
So which of those two ideas do you support the most?
Oh my goodness. Both.
Okay.
I think we have a culture right now where we don't value life anymore. We don't value each other even anymore. Even our homeless. We need to support everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. What brings you out today?
I'm pro-life.
Okay. I've heard that today's march is about a couple of subjects. I've heard that it's about specifically a law that's trying to get passed, and I've also heard that it's just a general statement that life begins at conception. What does it mean for you today?
Both.
Okay.
I mean, I do believe that life starts at conception, and I felt that way my whole life. But I also want to see the end of abortion, and I pray regularly for the end of abortion.
Okay. This is you say you pray regularly. This is a religious idea for you?
It is for me. Yes.
What is the difference between religion and politics? How do we separate those things? Is it possible?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I don't say that I'm religious. Like, I'm a follower of Jesus. He's my savior, and he is one who gives life. And so, but politics are separate. Sure.
Okay, cool. I'm going to ask you about some specific cases. How do you feel about some of the celebrities get surrogates to have babies, and they make like 6 embryos, and they implant one, and if that doesn't work, they implant the second one, and if that works, they like terminate the rest. How do you feel about that practice?
I think that's tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Like, I mean, yeah.
How do you feel about abortion in the case of rape?
Well, I think that there's a very, very, very small proportion of people that are actually raped.
Yes, but do you find it also to be tricky, or do you think it's
they should. I mean, I understand that you were raped and then you get pregnant, but I still think that you should give life to that baby.
Excellent.
And
thank you very much.
Baby go to an adoptive family.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you very much. What brings you out today?
Standing up for life.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard that today is about a couple things specifically. what is it about for you? Is it more about the legislation that's trying to be passed, or is it about the idea that life begins at conception, or what are you saying today?
Yeah, it's all of that. It's the more people that will come out here and show their support for the evil of abortion, the more likely we are to have it ended.
So you say the evil of abortion, is this a religious idea for you?
No. I mean, I don't know if it's religious or not. I mean, it's a commandment, thou shalt not kill.
Well, that's from the Bible, so it's like a religious, this is a religious topic that you're out here about?
Well, yeah.
Religiously motivated to be here?
Well, I'm motivated to be here because life is beautiful, and we shouldn't be ending it in the womb for convenience sake and so forth.
What is the difference between our religious conviction and political conviction? Is there a difference, or are they should our politics reflect our spiritual beliefs, or is that what we can expect?
I don't really know how to answer that. I'm not very political. I believe in God, and I believe that all life is beautiful, and therefore it shouldn't be ended. For
like legally shouldn't be ended?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't think of yourself as a political person?
Not particularly. Okay. I mean, I only vote for pro-life politicians.
So when you vote for this subject here. It's your major sort of topic. Cool.
Yeah, but there isn't any other right more important than the right to life.
How long has that been the major topic that has guided your vote?
Probably since the time I started having children, so
I would guess 20 years?
25 years.
Cool. I'm going to ask a couple like specifics, sort of like how you feel about certain cases. When like celebrities get surrogates, they they create like 6 embryos and they implant one, and if that doesn't work, they implant the second one, and then like the ones that are left over they terminate. How do you feel about that practice?
I don't think it's right at all.
Okay.
Yeah, because life begins at conception, and we shouldn't be messing around with science like that.
Okay. So how do you feel about what if they did it one embryo at a time? Do you think that surrogacy is sort of like a little bit too far?
I do.
Cool. How do you feel about abortion in the case of rape? How do you feel about that?
Abortion is never okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can I interview you for about 5 minutes for my own personal YouTube on today's march?
Thank you. So I'm not allowed to. I have a big old contract that says Deacon Chris cannot be interviewed. So I can't. Sorry.
Interviewed for any reason?
Yeah. I had to get permission.
Did you get permission to be here today?
Sorry, I can't be in the interview.
Can they?
Yeah, what's your name?
My name's Mitchell. Can they? You don't know if they can? Can you be interviewed?
I could be.
You could be. You're not going to lose your job if I interview you? My friend here says he's going to lose his job if I interview him. Can I interview you for 5 minutes about today's march and why you're here and what you're trying to say? For my own personal YouTube on the subject of religion. I find your hesitancy to do this very odd because of how this is a place where people have come to say something, and now I'm asking you what you're saying, and you guys seem very defensive about it. Do you find that behavior to be strange? I was talking to these people. Were you understanding the conversation we were having? I'd like to bring you in and catch you up to the conversation we're having, and then after we're done, I'll talk to you about what you're talking about. Would you like to do that? Cool, well, I'm talking to her then. So you don't want to be interviewed today?
I am not extremely comfortable on camera, so...
Okay, can I not show your face at all and just interview you take your voice?
Do you have... What kind of questions?
It's going to be about what brought you out today, how you define life, what you want legally and politically, what sort of things you are supporting here today, what you would determine in a couple tricky cases that some people sort of don't agree on, and how you feel about contraception in general. Those are the questions.
Okay. It's not something that I particularly feel comfortable having.
But you do feel comfortable coming out and standing in public and supporting it with your presence. So I'm not understanding the sort of duality of that. It seems sort of duplicitous. Do you agree?
It's something that I just don't want my words twisted. So
I'm not twisting your words. I'm asking you to get your words.
It's not something I'd like to do right now.
Would you like to talk to me, or are you going to lose your job?
Me?
Yes. What's your name?
Talk to God.
But not people? You don't talk to people? I'd like to interview you as well. Are you walking away from me?
Correct. I'm sorry, we can't.
We can't talk because why? That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Hi, I'd like to interview you.
I just want to know your YouTube channel.
The Dork Shop. THEDORKSHOP. You guys seem like you want to say something and then I ask you what it is and you don't say it. It's very strange. Hi, can I interview you for 5 minutes?
I don't actually have time. I'm trying.
No, you're not allowed to.
My van group.
Can I interview you for 5 minutes?
No thanks.
Cool. You guys came out here to say something. I'm asking you what you're saying, and you guys aren't saying it. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Super weird.
I wish I could.
You wish you could?
Yeah.
Who should we ask so that you can? Because I can change it so you can. You can't.
That's all right. I think you can find someone else.
No, I can't. I literally can't. They all say no.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
It is a little strange.
It is very strange. Can I talk to you for 5 minutes for my personal YouTube about what brought you out today? Hello, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? Can I interview you for YouTube for 5 minutes about what brought you out to hold this sign today?
Yes, together.
Excellent. Yes, together?
Together for you.
Yes, together?
Yes,
I think.
absolutely. I will help
Thank you. Cool.
Who are you with?
I'm with myself, my own personal YouTube. I have 900 followers. It's a YouTube on the subject of religion. I find it to be incredibly fascinating.
Are you pro-life?
No, I'm not.
Oh. I think we're okay, actually.
So now you don't want to do the interview that you said you would because.
I wasn't sure originally. Like, I know you.
No, she was. She said yes, and she was very definite.
I'm happy to ask your
Excellent.
question.
Cool. What brought you out today?
I wanted to see what was going on here.
Okay. Did you make this sign?
No?
It was handed to you?
No, you know what? I sought out a sign because I was fascinated.
You sought out a sign and this is one you chose?
I was fascinated. Look at life.
Yes, it's very nice. Are you religiously motivated to be here today?
No, I was curious.
Curious? What motivated that curiosity? A political idea?
Well,
or like
I'm alive. So I thought this might have something to do with my life.
How do you feel about contraception in general?
How do you feel about that?
I feel that condoms and sort of the pill are a very good way of waiting until you're ready to become a parent. I think they're very effective at that. And if it's a tool that we can use morally, that it can be. How do you feel about it?
I like what you said.
You do? Do you agree with what I said?
You sound like a good man seeking truth.
Yes,
and you
I
want
am.
to respect people.
Yes, I am. And I find it very, very strange that a lot of the people around here, especially the ones that are wearing costumes that say that they're very religious, won't talk to me. Do you find that to be very strange as well?
No, because some people are shy. I got a little bit scared too.
Yes, right. Not shy enough to come out. We are being brave today by coming out and stating it. And then when I ask people, and I haven't asked other people this questions, I'm asking them to you. The questions before these, I have asked to most other people.
Well, it's interesting because we live in a land where there's freedom, and you know why I was curious? Why? What is happening?
Curious about coming out today?
I was curious why, if we live in a land where it's supposed to be free, why are so many people afraid?
Yes.
Right now.
Yes. What is causing the fear? Why are we afraid of each other? Why do we think that someone who has a different opinion of us is going to attack us instead of try to understand us? Can I ask you about a couple of very sort of tricky situations and your opinion of them?
Yeah, I have to go, but I'd be happy to.
There's just two questions. In the case of sort of surrogacy, like the celebrities, they get a surrogate to have their baby. They create 6 embryos and they like implant one, and if that doesn't work, they implant another one. How do you feel about that practice?
Well, how would you feel about it if you have a wife?
I do.
How would you feel about that if that was your wife?
It's okay if you don't want to answer. I do want your answers. The other question is, how do you feel about abortion in the case of rape?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. How do you personally feel about it? Is it? A lot of people have said no. Some people have said tricky. How do you feel?
Yeah. Well, I think rape is an act of violence, isn't it?
It is. It is. And maybe birthing a child of violence is another act of violence on the mother. But I'm not interviewing me about how I feel. I'm interviewing you today about how you feel about this very tricky situation.
You know what?
Do you think there are some exceptions?
I think everybody knows the answer to that one. So I need to go.
Cool.
But
I understand it. Thank you very much for your time.
I hope we helped you.
You have given me more answers than a lot of people have. You have been very forthcoming. My name is Mitchell.
I think you're going to do a lot of good.
I think I've done a lot of good.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid.
Afraid for no good reason. I think it's because they worship a God of fear, personally. I'm not afraid of truth. I'm not afraid of God. A lot of people say fear God, and I think that's a mistake. What brings you out today?
We're here to support life.
Okay. Life in general. I've heard it's about a couple things. I've heard it's about a bill. I've heard it's about defining life as beginning at conception, or a human begins at conception. What is it you're trying to say today? That you want this thing politically passed, or?
Well, that's just a small component of it. Again, I think everybody here is in support of life from conception until natural death.
I've heard that. I didn't hear that until I got here today. I thought it was about the bill, but then everyone has said that has been pretty consistent about the idea of a human is a human from the point of conception. So yeah, that's. Tell me your thoughts on that subject.
Again, I just think that it doesn't matter how big or small a being is. A being doesn't become more human just because of its size. That's just a matter of living out what it was naturally created to be. And so I think we need to support that and respect that. And again, this bill is important insofar as that particular bill is talking about babies that could literally live outside of their mother's womb if given the chance to do so. And
so do you view the bill as a compromise between sort of two sides on an idea?
Again, I don't ever want to compromise and say that we don't believe in life from the beginning. So it's not that, but we are willing to work in increments, right? We want to step closer and closer to a world where hopefully, right, an abortion's never something that's even conceivable. I'd love to see us support these young women that find themselves in extremely difficult situations, and yet we can help them and love them and support them all the time.
How do you feel about contraception in general?
So again, personally, I'm a Catholic. I believe that, again, hopefully, ultimately, that act should be for a man and a woman that are married, and so, and that through that they should be open to life. And so I would personally be against contraception.
And you said you're a Catholic. These are religiously motivated subjects for you?
Yes.
Okay. Where is there a line between religion and politics? Can we separate those two ideas inside of a mind?
So I know I can't, right? I mean, I think that I want my faith and my beliefs to emanate throughout every portion of my life. And so I think in most people's cases, I kind of hope not.
How do you, that most people are politically and religiously sort of fluid, is what you're saying. You expect that from most people as well?
Right. I think, right,
that these subjects are very close to each other. There's a lot of overlap in the idea of religion and politics.
Well, I guess I would say if you're a person of faith, that needs to emanate throughout every aspect of your life, and you can't just, right, it's not, your faith isn't just about spending an hour in church every Sunday, and so being able to bring that into every aspect of your life, which includes politics. Yes.
How do you feel about in surrogacy? If they create like 6 embryos during it, and they implant one, and if it doesn't work, they implant another one, and then when it's working, they terminate the others. How do you feel about that practice?
So again, that would go against the concept of life from conception, and destroying that would be something I wouldn't support.
Excellent. And in the case of rape, do you feel similar about that, or is that?
Again, personally, we have a cousin who was raped and kept that child alive, and I remember at our wedding ceremony, he was just a little kid and he was out there on the dance floor, and I was just thinking, right, she had every opportunity to end that life, and she could have done that, and yet here's this beautiful child that's out there, and there's hundreds and thousands of people who are looking to adopt life, and if I understand that some people get themselves in a situation where they can't raise a child, but there's so many people that are willing to do so. Again, I guess 2 wrongs, ultimately in that particular case, right, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
So what brings you out today?
Oh yeah, we were just attending the March for Life here today. On what's today, the 11th?
11th.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's about a bill, and I've heard that it's about just sort of a general idea that life begins at conceptions. What were you saying today?
Well, sure. Yeah. For this particular year, there was a bill that we were also looking at to end late-term abortions. So that was a part of what we were marching for. But this is an annual march that we do every year to respect life, to understand that we want to be able to honor life from the very natural beginning to the very natural end.
And you're in religious garb. This is religiously motivated for you?
Well, it's yes. Our Christian faith reminds us that yes, life is precious, and so it goes right in line with our Christian values. Go right in line with our pro-life stance.
And how do you personally feel about subjects like I forgot the word, condoms and birth control? What is that?
So contraception.
Contraception. Thank you.
Well, sure. With respects to contraception, for what again myself being a deacon within the Catholic Church, again to remind us that the union between a husband and a wife. We want to be able to give ourselves fully and not withhold different aspects of ourselves, whether it happens to be finances, whether it happens to be our sexuality, any other aspect of our life. Then you're holding something back.
And these you're describing it sort of religiously,
but also as an aspect of your relationship with hopefully your beloved wife, or as a woman, as your beloved husband. You want to give your full self to your spouse.
How do you feel personally about in the surrogate process when they're like the celebrities will have someone else raise a baby, or people who can't have a baby sort of create surrogates. They create like 6 embryos and they implant one, and if it works, then they sort of terminate the other. How do you feel about that process?
There's a couple issues there that again, with the whole understanding of really wanting to respect life. In the events where perhaps a husband and wife struggle having a child, naturally on their own, as much as I can appreciate them wanting to have a child, to go to extreme measures and to have a child in an unnatural way, we've got to be careful with that.
So you feel that surrogacy is a little bit over the line?
Well, because for the simple fact that we got to remember that each child actually certainly has a right to both a father and a mother, and as often as a married couple has the opportunity to have a child, to bring it about, we got to also remember that that life itself is not always going to be a situation where we get to just have it on demand, have a child show up when we want it, how we want it. And so to suddenly start inserting certain measures to make that happen because we want it isn't necessarily the right thing to do.
Excellent. How do you feel in the case of rape? How do you feel about a birth, a pregnancy in those circumstances? Does that make it tricky, or it's?
Well, yes. I mean, it's in the terrible circumstances of rape. I mean, so a woman has already had one wrong done to that poor individual. And myself speaking as yes, I've got a mother. Yes, as a married permanent deacon, I have a wife. I've got beautiful daughters as well. In any of those aspects, in the event that God forbid that any of them would be raped, and they say, for an example, I'm assuming you'd be asking that they would have conceived a child in that manner.
Yes, a child in the case of rape is not an exception.
There's still that gift of life, and that little child in the womb. That little child has done nothing wrong. So to suddenly
but do you think that the law should reflect this idea? Do you think that we should make that an illegal case, or do you think that the law should stay here at this sort of late term and as a sort of middle ground compromise, or would you like the law to go all the way to?
Well, laws aside, we certainly
No, specifically about the laws. Should our spiritual and religious understandings and desires should we legislate that way?
First and foremost, we would hope to get an individual to understand that from the heart that hey, life is precious.
Yeah.
And to end a life under any circumstances is going to be an egregious situation.
Right, but not illegal. I'm talking about the legality of it. If a woman who is raped and says, "I really feel like I would like to terminate this," would you like to make that illegal?
Okay, so from there, from that stance of hopefully getting somebody's understanding that life is precious. Life should be precious.
It is precious.
All the way from the very natural beginning to the very natural end.
That is my last question about the rape, though.
And so with that, from a legality standpoint, I would hope to think that everybody would want my life, your life, anybody else's life to be protected in that same manner from beginning to end.
Legally protected.
Under the law, yes.
Yes, under the law. So a woman who would choose to have that, you would want that to be an illegal act? If the woman chooses for herself that this baby that society is asking me to have as a result of rape, I don't want to be involved with this baby's life and terminate this within the first week, you want that to be an illegal thing?
If you would allow me to answer it this way, I would
like you to say yes, illegal, or no, I think that should be legal, but a bad choice.
I would like to legally see that child have an opportunity to live.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You've been the only one to talk to me.
And your name?
I'm Mitchell. I can show you my channel, and if you don't like what I put up on there, you can say please take it down, and I definitely will.